Hi, I'm Phil Dispenza, and this is Collecting, Investing, or somewhere in between. This is going to be the third and final part. I split the Silver Age Part 2 of superheroes into two parts, so technically this is Part 4, but calling it Part 3 uh, of the Silver Age of comic books. And we are going to cover everything else. I just want to finish up, so this might run a little longer than normal. I'm hoping no more than 45 minutes, but I do have a nice stack of comics here with all the genre, and I think I'm going to be pretty general with the majority of it. As I usually have mentioned, when you have any title, for the most part, superheroes, you're going to have first appearances that are going to be the keys. But a lot of the miscellaneous other genre, um, there's usually no specific one issue in the run, short of maybe the first, of course, first issue, first appearance, and possibly the later issues if they're low print run and rare. So in general, unless there's a specific artist guest starring or just doing their first work or something like that, the titles and the genre that I'm about to cover, again, will be just the early issues and or the first second issue and high grade again. Finding high grade Silver Age books that are 50 to 60 years old is not going to be easy. So, without further ado, I covered the last time I did Silver Age DC superheroes and Silver Age Marvel heroes. I just wanted to talk in general of possible other companies, and there aren't too many other companies left. I thought I had written it down. I guess I didn't. It's on the other side of the card. I have my little thing. Nope. Maybe I wrote it for my next video. You have Dell, Gold Key. You have Charlton. And there's not too much other than that. So I'm just going to start showing you a few things that I think might be of key. Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle is Charlton, but this is a key issue. And if you see why at the bottom, it says, who is the question? And the question, again, Blue Beetle, they were picked up by DC. Eventually, a lot of the Charlton characters were in Quality, Fawcett. A lot of the stuff was picked up by DC. So that's the first appearance of the question. That book actually has been shooting up, and I think there was only 5 issues of the Blue Beetle that had the question in it. There's not too much. Steve Ditko did it, and like I said, it's key. And I'm going to categorize this as a superhero. I grabbed one issue, which is a random issue, number 22. It's the only one I found, and I didn't I didn't take it out. But Solar, and these weren't anything until Valiant came along. Valiant took control, acquired licenses for Solar, Dr. Solar, Magnus, which I'm not going to show you, Magnus Robot Fighter, and those are probably, if you want to consider Magnus a superhero, it's tough. A lot of this stuff is going to be cross-genre, so Solar, Magnus, are they science fiction? I'm going to cover other things. And again, there's going to be titles. There's tons and tons of titles out there. So if you like the genre, find it. Like I said, the first episode was the horror. I covered pretty much all the horror. One other character from Gold Key that I have and I collect, and like I said, there could be others, but considered hits. Again, futuristic. The Mighty Samson. And this is another one that's been pretty popular. And some of these characters have popped up again. I don't remember which company put them out in the past 10 years. I've seen some Mighty Samson. I don't know if it's Boom or IDW or somebody took over and got the rights to these things. So you'll see some of these Golden and Silver Age characters popping up in Modern, and that's how you keep the interest alive. So I've mentioned Magnus already. The Phantom, I don't have I have tons of samples. If you look behind me, these boxes are turned sideways and stacks are there. What I'm doing is I'm going through the stock, and because my overstock, not my collection, most of it's jumbled. I mean, there's no semblance of order. My store stock that was in order, that's, like I said, the 17 boxes that was just part of them, but that's what burned in the truck. So a lot of these boxes have no semblance of order. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out 60s and 70s books, and that's why I'm covering right now. I'm going to be fun with the Bronze Age, but I'm covering a lot of the Silver Age, and that's why I have it. I got 2 copies of this, Big Hero Adventures, Jigsaw. Again, is this considered a superhero? Sure, why not? I think there was 3 issues to this. That's one of them. In fact, I thought I had all 3. But here's another one. I remember, I forgot what it's called, Supernatural Thrillers. That was Harvey with Jack Q. Frost. Again, it's a couple of things. And do you want to consider Archie's Pure Heart the Powerful, Archie superheroes, them as superheroes or superheroes? That's up to you. I mentioned the Phantom. One other one is the Thunder Agents by Tower Comics. That ran quite a few issues. I don't know, 16 to 20. I think there's 16 to 20 somewhere in there. Issues of I'm doing all this fidgeting of that title. And again, you might have seen it back in the 80s or 90s. They sometimes they reprint some of these things. They bring back the characters, start new stories. So again, that's probably, there's not too many superheroes elsewhere, otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Funny Animals. Again, crossovers between Funny Animals and cartoons. The 60s, and I'm going to cover this next in the cartoons, but you're going to see a lot more pop up. So Disney, I just pulled one out. Grandma Duck, I just happen to have. Remember, I said my wife is the one who does the Disney, so I don't have too many extra Disney silver. This was one of them. In fact, I think I had 2 copies of that book for some reason. I don't know if it was just some kind of chance that I just got 2 of the same one. And again, Looney Tunes. I pulled 1 Looney Tunes out. This was tougher because the majority of these I own are Golden Age. So I found one that was Silver Age. Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd. I told you my Bugs Bunny is like my second favorite cartoon character behind Scooby-Doo. And then, of course, a Bugs Bunny. There's a lot of Bugs Bunny titles. And again, these are going to go, they're starting the Golden Age, they're going to go through the Silver Age, into the Bronze Age, and then into the 80s before they either stop or somebody else acquires them. And I mentioned Heckle and Jekyll again. I grabbed this one. They look cool. They look a little silly. And, of course, Woody Woodpecker again. And, as long as these are on Boom and Cartoon Network and stuff, Tom and Jerry, I see that, I think it's 2 hours every night of Tom and Jerry cartoons. Supposed to have those new ones. Some other ones, and I'm going to mention as Funny Animals, but also cartoons. Hanna-Barbera comes into play in the 60s. And, I don't have... I probably do have, but I just don't have them handy. I'm going to show you Huckleberry Hound. Here's Huckleberry Hound from Dell. And again, Dell becomes Gold Key, and a lot of these titles continue in there. But you have like Magilla Gorilla, Quick Draw McGraw. Let's see, what else did I write here? Flintstones. I had a stack of Flintstones. I just didn't pull them out. And what else do I have here? Cartoon wise, This one's beat up. I sold almost all of these. Actually, this might be from the 70s. I don't care. I just pulled it out anyway. The Jetsons. Jetsons are big in the 60s. The Flintstones and the Jetsons. Those were the two. And what else do I have written here? Johnny Quest, Space Ghost. These are all characters that started popping up in the 60s. Harvey, of course, you have your famous Casper and Baby Huey and Little Lotta and Little Dot. The Little Lulu continues. I wrote down Bullwinkle. The few Bullwinkle issues I ever owned, I wound up selling. And I threw these in as a cartoon. Timmy the Timid Ghost. I don't know where else I would put him in. Let me see. Yeah, Timmy the Timid Ghost. This is from 1958. This is thick. It's 100 pages. It's beat up. And here's another one that started, not too sure if it started in the Golden Age, but ran through the Silver Age. Dennis the Menace. I have quite a few Dennis the Menace comics, probably 20, 25 issues that I had picked up. This is Fawcett. So a lot of the companies will die out by the end of the 60s. And we'll talk about that when we hit the Bronze Age. Teens. So I just grab random Archies. And again, if there's certain covers that are risque with the dialogue, or, I doubt there might be a first Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is Archie's Funhouse 22. Is that it? I think that might be it. That's a key, and that thing's been going up a lot. So there's one that you might want to pick up. Josie and the Pussycats, I'm trying to think. It's probably from the Silver Age. I don't remember offhand. There's just too much to cover, so I didn't want to get into too many details. I got a little Archie here. Again, Archie had so many titles, so many characters. I just grabbed one other one. Jughead, A World of Jughead. And a lot of these are Archie Giant series. And the three I just showed you. Then you have a title, Charlton title, again, teenage thing called Freddy. And I don't think I've mentioned him in the Golden Age. Trying to see what I wrote there. Oh, Wilbur, another Archie. And I might have showed you one of him for the Golden Age. I'm throwing Millie. Marvel still had their titles. Millie, Waddling with Millie. I got a couple of Millies here. But again, these are starting to, like I said, die out. And popularity of those types of titles, nobody wanted them after a while. And I guess the print run's low. But again, that's probably when you want to buy stuff like that. Now, longevity, again, I've mentioned this before. I don't think maybe another 10, 15 years. There's always going to be, and I said this before, there's always going to be some interest, but I don't think it's not like you got, Cosmic Ghost Rider or Walking Dead, the super amount of interest where you have tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people who want these first appearances or nice covers or characters, Venom or whatever. You might have, 5,000 people, 3,000 people. So again, high grade's always going to hold its value, even if it slacks in in the price guide or on sales and stuff. If you ever saw Overstreet, and we noticed this, a long time ago in the 90s, maybe even the 80s, the price spread between grades, good, fine, near mint, and then they added the VG to VF. Now they got all these extra columns and stuff, but the price spread grew. So where good used to be a quarter of near mint, then it was like an eighth. Now it might be a tenth. It could be a 12th. 1/12 of the price of a near mint. It might even be even more. And if you go to shows, and there are shows out there, I don't care about COVID. The big conventions still haven't started yet, but there's always shows out there. And you'll see, here's my Silver Age box. The dealer have it sitting on his table, and then half price. And he's going half guide. And you could probably get, so the price guide, even though it's a spread, an eighth of it or sixth of it or whatever, of near mint or near mint minus, whatever, you're getting it for a fraction of that. So you always got to do your research. I always say that. See what other people are, quote, selling their stuff for, not asking price. That means nothing. So we're going to move to romance. Again, as another genre. It's still pretty strong in the 60s. I have quite a few. I don't know too many. Yeah, I guess Marvel had a couple. I don't think I have any, if you want to count Modeling with Millie. Charlton was putting out a lot. Teen Confessions. I got one issue of that. I'm going to pull out all the Charlton. I only have two. I only grabbed a couple of each. A Love Diary. Anything with love in it and stuff. And then DC. I pulled out DC, still put them out for a while. Girls Romance and Girls Love. So, again, is it going to hold value? For now it is. But now's the time probably to sell this stuff, because if you look online, just like Girls Love, if there's like, say, 100 issues, I don't know offhand, it could be 75, it could be 60, I don't know. There might only be, if they have every copy, sometimes you won't even see some of the copies, some of the issue numbers, there might be no more than 3 in various conditions. So again, high grade is going to go. And if you look at Mile High, it doesn't matter what the price guide is. The price guide could say $25. This is the exception. Most of the times, if the price guide says $25 and fine, you're getting 40 for it or 50, because you can't find some of these books. So again, you're going to weigh rarity versus popularity, desirability. So again, if you have romance or girl types of love comics and stuff, I would probably suggest selling the stuff within now through the next 5 to 10 years. Okay. This one's going to be a toughie. I wrote TV and movie, and I just have a random selection, but I wrote quite a few things. The majority of, and I'm thinking probably the majority of the TV and movies were the Dell and Gold Key. And again, Dell and Gold Key had their hands in everything. Every genre, pretty much. And what I always specified, I think when I did the horror, because I showed you some things, the Dell and Gold Keys, I'd say almost all of them are either painted covers or photo covers. And they put quality into their work. Unlike Charlton they were miscut. They got ridges and stuff, and sometimes the art was cheesy, the story was cheesy. Dell and Gold Key, it was high quality and really nice looking stuff. You saw the Mighty Samson, you saw the Solar, and I'm going to get to some stuff here. I love Sinbad the Sailor. Probably the Ray Harryhausen got me, the animated skeletons, and I've mentioned this in the past. I love skeletons. So I have Captain Sinbad, and this is from a movie. You'll see the photo covers with all the different small photos and stuff. So I pulled out some Sinbad stuff. I just grabbed 3 books. Fantastic Voyages of Sinbad. And Sinbad the Sailor, I think, unless they come out with them, I don't think you're going to see anything new. You haven't seen anything new. There was some with Marvel had a couple in the World's Unknown in the 70s, and Adventure, I think, put out, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 series, 4-issue miniseries, and I have them all. I have everything with that because I love Sinbad. Space Family Robinson, Lost in Space. You're going to see a lot of popularity here with television shows. So I pulled out Lost in Space, but I'm just going to start throwing out some TV shows from the 60s. There's a lot more. I'm going to show you even more. I wrote The Munsters, I've never had a Monsters comic. They're rather expensive. They're still popular. Beverly Hillbillies. I've had those. I sold them. What else do I have written? My Favorite Martian. If you're a fan of the Hulk, with, oh my God, Bixby. Oh my God, my brain's not working. From the Hulk. He's in My Favorite Martian. That's probably not as popular. What else did I write here? I can't even read. I have to look. Oh, Bonanza. Popular. Michael Landon, Lauren Green from Battlestar Galactica. That's a Western. Again, you're going to have these cross genres. So do you collect the Western because it's Western? Do you collect Bonanza because it's television? So you have people who are Western collectors want some of this stuff. People who are TV movie collectors are going to want some of these things. I wrote Land of the Giants. That is another one that's a little more obscure. A lot of these TV shows, if you grew up in the 60s or you watched reruns in the 70s and possibly 80s, you'll know what these are. But nowadays, kids, So, again, nice looking books, high quality, art or photo covers, and people want, people would probably want them high grade again. I wrote Gomer Pyle. I actually did have Gomer Pyle. I still might have it. I just didn't find it. One of my favorites, and we're going to just jump off the TV show movies. Celebrity, we're going to go with Abbott and Costello. I don't know if I mentioned him in the Golden Age. Them. I loved Abbott and Costello. I watched every Sunday morning. Going to my grandparents' house, I used to watch Abbott and Costello on Channel 11, WPIX, New York. Three Stooges, again. This not as popular because you have, I don't know if that's Curly Joe or Joe Besso. Oh, it is Curly Joe. Not as popular as Curly himself. And then here I go again with some of these mixes of TV shows. Fess Parker as Daniel Boone, photo cover, and Davy Crockett or whatever. People, again, are you going to want these books? And the thing with Dells and Gold Keys, and I'm going to mention this when I hit the Bronze Age, is that there seems to be quite a few on the market. There's still, I think people have, I'm not going to say warehouse finds, but there's like, what do you call that? Oh my God, my brain's not working. There's quantities out there, and some of these companies have, sitting on a few hundred copies, and they're all high grade. So I got Girl from Uncle. I'm going out of order with it, but here's The Girl from Uncle. Again, TV show. Man from Uncle. And TV show. And then this one, which is funny, Mission Impossible, which I just happened to look on Epix last night. They were putting one of the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. And again, you come out with the movie, you bring back, the series, and some that might create interest in the vintage stuff. I threw this in here. This is going to be my last one. The Monkees. Yes, they were on TV. They had their own show. And this one's actually decently high grade. But again, music. Okay, it's a band, but they had the show. And it's a photo cover. Not as quite as possible as popular as the Beatles. I need to drink some water. So there are tons more TV and movie stuff, and I might mention them here in different genre. Jungle. I did see a King Kong, and again, King Kong to me, I love King Kong, especially the '76 movie with Jessica Lange. Conga, which is not King Kong, but I have Conga, and then there's like Reptosaurus, Charlton, that says based on an American International picture. So they, you'll see, like I say, knockoffs, but like stealing ideas. So Conga, then you have Reptosaurus, it's not Godzilla, but you know, they try to play off the popularity of certain characters. Tarzan, of course, jungle character, very, very popular, has been for a long time. And I wrote this. I brought this one, Korak, which is the son of Tarzan. This one's pretty nice too. But again, these covers, if you look at the cover, the quality, he's stabbing the dinosaur with the spear and stuff. So, that's awesome. And then I wrote Tono and Kono, the Jungle Twins. I put Turok. I'm not too sure. I don't know if Turok would really be jungle, but he also could have been the superhero. And of course, Turok right now, I forgot what his first appearance is. One of the four colors. That issue's very, very hot. Why? Because Valiant came back with Turok. In Magnus number 12. When we get to the 90s, we'll talk about Valiant and stuff. But Turok, is he jungle? Is he superhero? Son of Stone. But, it's tough to find or to collect some of these things because there are quite a few books. Turok ran 100-something issues. Magnus didn't and Solar didn't. I think they ran maybe 30-something, 40-something issues offhand. I can't recall. All right, going on to War. Like I said, there might be other jungle things, but again, jungle's dying by pretty much the 60s. And when I say dying, there's still going to be titles out there. Like Tarzan's going to be picked up. He's going to keep getting produced through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, into the 2000s, maybe even today. I don't even know. Modern stuff, like I said, I'm not too sure. But the amount of titles have diminished. And that's when I say something starts, becoming cold. Where you had 25 titles, you might have 10, you might have 5. So, just take that, consider it. I'm trying to stay a little focused. I turned this light off. I don't know if you noticed. I didn't like it, so I have this other spotlight on me, if I call it. Anyway, so War. DC had 4 main titles that ran from, I think some of them from the Golden Age through the 80s. I'm going to mention them, and it's weird because I was looking this up. I actually have quite a few DC War issues from these 4 series. Not too much All-American Men of War. I wrote 67 as the first Gunner and Sarge. I'm not too sure if it's different or that's just the artist who was doing it, because it's said by Andrew and Esposito, Ross Andrew. I think it Mike Esposito. It might be their first work on first Gunner and Sarge, because in our Fighting Forces, number 45, it also says first Gunner and Sarge. And I didn't look it up, but that's like the K. The biggie, of course, Our Army at War. I put 81 and 83. Sergeant Rock, the prototypes, there's always, he's called the Rock or something like that. So there's several prototypes of Sergeant Rock. That debate was going on for years. But if you read Overstreet, every year right now, I'm not too sure how long they've been coming out, 10, 15 years, there's a war section. There's an article. They talk about, these are diehard collectors and very knowledgeable people about war comics, and they give you their opinion on what to buy, what's hot, what's not, and of course the 4th title, the big title of DC War, is Star Spangled War Stories. And I wrote number 90, issue 90, as the first, The Land That Time Forgot, the dinosaurs. And I've mentioned it before, I think. Dinosaurs are very popular as a genre, or, my brain's not working again, a theme, okay? So the dinosaur issues have always been popular, and every time I got a dinosaur issue in, I literally would flip it. And, you get decent money. So again, those 4 titles, and again, I said, I have quite a few, but I don't own too many Silver Age books. Almost all the books I own are bronze and into the 80s. So I'm going to pull out one other DC title, and I don't think there's too many issues of this. The PT Boat Skipper, Captain Storm. And this is much higher than some of the Marvel ones. And if you have, like I mentioned in superhero, Sergeant Rock, what do you call it? Oh my God, my brain just went blank. So I put Sergeant Rock as a what do you call that? As a superhero. But here's one I didn't, and I think this came from Sergeant Rock anyway. Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders. So it's again war, and I think they've started running out of themes. Not themes. Oh my God, I'm really toast. It's Sunday morning, like always. So I always say I have to drink more water. I'm getting warm. No air, no fan. I don't want to ruin my sound. But ideas, that's the word I was looking for. They run out of ideas because how many World War II stories can you keep telling when you started in World War II and now you're into the 60s? So you got 20 something years, 30 years worth of stories. How you got to keep the interest of your audience. So I put Black Hawk. There's another one. Now Black Hawk, from what I understand, is like a dead title. Chaykin came out with the 3-issue series in the 80s. I know there were other. That was a nice deluxe painted miniseries, and I actually own that. I don't collect Black Hawk, but when that came out, I thought it looked so cool. I decided to buy it. Charlton had a ton of war comics, and for some reason, I got all the same types. So Charlton, attack, anything with attack, anything with fighting, which I'll show you. But I have Army War Heroes here. The water's not doing me well. And then Fighting Marias. Fighting Maria. How do you solve a problem like Maria? You fight her. Anyway, Fighting Marines. I got a stack of them. I don't know why. This is like the only title. And I'm going through the boxes and I'm just finding Fighting Marines. Here's another one. Fighting Marines. Here's another one. So, I don't know. I just went nuts with the fighting. Here's the Fighting Marines. But there's Fighting Navy, Fighting Army, Fighting Air Force. So there's a lot of war stuff. Charltons were never worth much. I remember because I think I had, when I was pricing some of this stuff in the 90s, in VG to find, the book was worth maybe 50 to 75 cents. So, and this is 60s stuff. Now they're starting to, raise some value. I think probably because of the age. When you have something that's 55, 60 years old, it's got to hold some kind of value. Well, it should hold some kind of value. Because there's still some interest in the war. I wrote Dell because I had one. I don't remember. I probably sold it. It was called Combat. There's probably other titles from Dell. But, that covers the war. Again, you probably, the most popular titles you're going to grab. You might want to buy some of the Charlton stuff if it's cheap enough. You can find it cheap enough, fill in runs. And like I said, read that war report in Overstreet every year. It'll give you an idea of, maybe what to collect. Westerns. I'm sweating. That's why my hair is itchy. I only showing one, Kid Colt Outlaw. You got Rawhide Kid and stuff. Again, Marvel didn't have too many Westerns. The Westerns were dying. I put Tomahawk by DC as a Western. What else do I have written here? Team Rangers by Charlton. Tom Mix. And again, some of these are going to be TV people, personalities. Roy Rogers, I didn't write. I'm not too sure if there were Roy Rogers in the Silver Age, but the Lone Ranger, of course, he went through the Silver Age. Again, Disney put it out. Johnny Depp, Tonto. I've mentioned this before. A flop. I don't think that was much of a hit at all. I think it was a big flop. But again, trying to keep some of this stuff alive. I wrote Ghost Rider, and yes, it's not the motorcycle riding Ghost Rider. It's the Ghost Rider who rides the horse, and he's dressed up like a cowboy. And he's got his little mask and stuff. That's actually pretty popular. And when we get to the 70s, they reprint them in a different title. Marvel did. So that was Marvel's Ghost Rider. Other Westerns, I didn't even write anything. Again, it's a dying breed, titles, genre, because, kids, people don't ride, well, they do ride horses, but it's not something that's commonplace, you're not walking around with your 6 guns, sitting on the side. So popularity is not there anymore. And again, there's always going to be some collectors for it, but I would probably pay no more than 20% of guide, unless again it's super high grade, 9.0 or higher, because nobody really wants it. So science fiction, I have 2 books, just pulled it out. One of these was Mystery in Space. DC had some titles. Again, whether or not they cross genre, I wrote Strange Adventures. What else do I have here? Flash Gordon, of course, is a science fiction character. And then I wrote, what did I write there? Oh, The Outer Limits. Again, it's TV, but it's also science fiction. And then I have here Space Adventures by Charlton. So there are science fiction types of books out there. Space, anything space. And again, that genre is still popular. People love science fiction, and it's going to evolve over the years because of technology evolving. So then you see something like Independence Day, and they revamped Mars Attacks and stuff. All the you're going to still see aliens and things coming in, destroying the planet, and all this stuff. So science fiction should hold value and continue to hold value, because there's always going to be new stuff coming out. And finally, I'm just going to mention them. I didn't pull any out. I figured there's no point because I covered it a lot. Classics. And Classics Illustrated, again, if there's few print run, like they didn't reprint the book at all, that's something you want to probably get. Again, high grade. The Kids, the Twin Circles, or whatever, the Classics Illustrated Juniors, you probably want to get. Again, it depends on what the issue title is. Wizard of Oz, I see them constantly. Again, you have to watch because there's so many print runs, but there's also, I'm going to keep saying, warehouse copies, file copies, keep showing up in quantity. That Wizard of Oz book, the Twin Circle, I must have graded, I don't know, at least 30 or 40 in the past 5 years. And to me, that's a lot. And they're always high grade, or almost high grade. They're literally unread. Let me just say it that way. So you got to watch. And that's probably it with my Silver Age. I'm going to start with a Bronze Age introduction. I'm going to record it actually right now, but I'm not going to air it for at least a week or two. And then, as like I said, you see these stacks behind me. 70s are going to be tough. I'm going to keep Bronze Age from 70 to 79, maybe 80. But I want the 80s by themselves. And I don't care if Bronze Age is supposed to be from 70 to 83 or something. The 80s, literally, and that's my time, is going to get its own section. And there's a lot to cover. So there's going to be a lot of Bronze Age to cover. And we'll see you next time. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends and family, as I always say. Word of mouth is the biggest form of getting yourself known. And I guess that's it. See you next time.